He's dark,
That's
so I
that
gotta have
white
the
Henny.
lighter.
That's the first time I taste
That's
that
that
white Henny
melanin.
too.
It's okay. It's
I'm gonna have to get a
okay.
bottle of that.
You're gonna have to go to Cancun now.
Who Cares? A podcast hosted by Melissa Kay and Queen Joy Tucker. Intro music by TR Sun the Terminator. Who Cares is produced by California Performing Arts AV, a nonprofit. Listen anytime at www.caperformingartsav.com.
Okay.
Who Cares has a mission and a purpose. Our mission is to create brave conversations that bring people closer to healing, understanding, and self-expression. We believe in the power of storytelling, that when we tell our truths, we give others permission to do the same. Who Cares exists to break silence, confront stigma, and use art as a tool for transformation. We don't just talk about issues, we heal through them. Every episode is a mirror, reflecting real lives, real struggles, and the beauty of becoming whole. Who Cares opens the door for voices often left out of the room and makes space for truth, laughter, and love. Well, hey, welcome to the pod. Thanks for chilling with us. And before we get started, take a second to like, share, all that good stuff that helps Who Cares grow and helps us to keep telling the story.
Hey, look, hold on. Check.
You can stop my statement. What?
We on live right now?
Yeah, we live also.
Look, I'm trying to figure out which camera is the.
Any camera you want to look at, there's a camera here. It's live.
This one is live. This one's live.
This would be footage for later on. Now, the live is only like BTS footage,
Right.
if that makes sense, behind the scenes footage. So you don't have to really focus on the live.
Mm-hmm.
But this camera here, I will focus on right here.
This one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This one is for sound only.
Okay.
And you don't have to listen to yourself unless you want to on the headphones.
All right.
The
headphones pretty good. That sound good.
You want to, I know, ooh, I sound got to be a rapper. It's hard out here for a pill.
You feel me? I mean, it ain't nothing. No, ain't nothing.
Wait, let me see what that sound like, though. It's hard out here for a pimp when you trying to get some dollars and some cents. That's not how it goes. Good afternoon, Bosco. What's going on with you?
How you doing, sweetheart?
I'm good. So, first, I want to know, because Bosco is a nickname, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us how you got that nickname.
Yeah, well, my mom called me Mike. You feel me? But
Mike.
Mike Quan.
Mike Jones?
It's really Mike Quan.
Oh, shit, Mike
the family
Quan.
called me Mike. But yeah, I actually got that name Bosco, from one of my older homies. I was 10 years old, and I remember he knocked the dude out and shit in my mom's house. It was one of my sister boyfriends. It was one of my it was one of my sister friends' boyfriends, and it was my brother homeboy and shit like that. So Bosco was my brother homeboy. Came over to the house, they was kicking in and shit, and I guess my sister friend had came over and she had a boyfriend he didn't like, but he ended up knocking him out, and I was inside the back room and stuff, I hear commotion, and I hear commotion, I get up and stuff and I see a dude run out the house, his shoe in the middle of the floor, you feel me, and moms and sister and everybody, they like, get back in the room, and I'm 10 years old. I know this my brother friend Bosco and stuff, he in the house. So moms and stuff, she put us in a room with me, Bosco. We went to the back of the room and stuff. This probably like, maybe like, you feel me, 7:00 at night or something. Bosco and shit, he was just like, you feel me, he was pumped up. We was in a room, he was just like, nigga, this crip. Like, you feel me? Like nigga, I'm Bosco. Don't nobody disrespect me. You feel me, nigga? I knocks niggas out. Like, he was just active and shit, you feel me? And I'm just looking at him, you feel me? I'm 10 years old. You feel my brother wasn't there. My brother was in the pen actually. He had just got locked up for attempted murder and shit, man. Rest in peace, Beaver, you feel me? But yeah, 10 years old and shit, you feel me? So yeah, but anyway, that's how at 10 years old that's how I discovered that name Bosco, He was like, nigga, that's how the Bosco family do it. You feel me? You like, nigga, you gonna be a Bosco, nigga.
So he named you that.
He named me that.
Okay.
10 years old.
And it just
Got
stuck
that
with
name.
you.
It stuck with me.
So where'd you grow up? Like, where you from? Where'd you grow up?
Well, I gotta represent two cities. You feel me? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I know that's kind of different, but you know, I'm from South Central LA. You feel me, to be exact. I've been in Palmdale for over 20 years, so.
So if you was to go back to the penitentiary, you would be representing Palmdale?
No.
No,
No,
niggas be like, where you from?
No, I want, look, what I'm saying is, oh yeah, I got a lot of homies out there, I got family out there, and I made a lot of money out there, so that's, you know, part of the family tree, you feel me?
Okay, right.
But I'm from South Central LA, I'm from Sex Jerks Crib. You know, that's where I'm from, you know, originally from, that's, you know, that's.
And what does that mean? Where does that name come from?
Well, that was something that got started in South Central LA in the 80s. You know, it was I actually wrote a book about it, you know, it's called Jerks. You know, it's about how, you know, cliques, you know, end up turning to gangs, you know, because you know, out here in America and stuff, there's a lot of different cliques, different crews out here and stuff like that. And some end up turning to gangs, some end up, you know, turning to college people, you know, some end up doing good things, but you know, that was one of them. They ended up turning the gang, and it was called Sex Jerks. So that was something.
So I'm trying to figure out, where does this name come from?
Well, yeah, it came from.
What does it have to do with sex?
You know, it came from, like, you know, a crew full of dudes that started up out of high school. You know.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? One of the older homies' name was Sex. You know, my brother name was Beaver. You know, one of the homies' name was Big Bosco.
Okay.
You know, these factors, you feel me? Shit like that, you know what I'm saying? And these dudes was like, you know, they from South Central LA and shit. They was different. Like my brother, he used to date Yo-Yo, the rapper Yo-Yo, back in 1990 when she first was going to Washington High. You feel me? Like, you know, Big Sax, he was the only kid and shit. He was in high school and shit in the 80s, driving around and shit in sports cars and shit like that. You know, tall nigga, like 6'6", you know, had anything you want, know. Like the homies and shit was like, they, you know what I'm saying, they was like some South Central dudes, you know, in LA, you know, that's where gangs, all that shit started at. Crip and Blood, anything, that shit started in South Central. So the homies is a part of that, you feel me, on South Central off of 87th in Normandy, you know, and between Vermont. And the homies was just like fly dudes and shit, like, you know, so they had an era and shit like where, you know, they was like in high school, they was the most popular kids in high school, to where a lot of dudes wanted to join them, to where they end up being from 5 to 10 to 20 to 50, to where it was a count to where it was about 200 homies before.
So it wasn't like gangs are today then? Because today...
It was totally different. Actually, it was totally different. Like, the homies and shit, you know, Sex Jerks, they was different. And they wanted to be different. You know, they was different than East Coast, than A-Trays, than Hoovers, than 9-0s and 60s. They was like, you know, all them niggas, they love the homies, they respect the homies, they already know the homies and shit is active just like them. But at the same time, the homies was different. Like I said, my brother was going to school, he was going out with Yo-Yo. You feel me? You know, she had $1 million deal in the 90s and shit. My brother had that. But, you know, what stopped him from that, he went to prison for attempted murder, for, you know, shit like that. That's where the clique, you know what I'm saying, end up becoming bigger and shit, end up becoming, you know, having more wars and different shit, to where, you know, instead of just being a clique, they end up becoming a gang. So it's something for America I think they need to see. And I think, you know, they need to really view and stuff and understand about, you know what I'm saying, the mind frame of how young dudes think. You feel me? Because, you know what I'm saying, like, it's dudes and shit, they starting shit all over the world, you feel me? Cliques, crews, and it's about, you know, what you want to do with it, though, you feel me? Do you want it to be something productive, something beneficial, something that's positive, or 30, 20 years later and shit, your homies is dead, locked up, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? Doing life prison sentences, some doing good, but they don't mess with the other homies. Like, that's not something that what was supposed to have been created. I'm sure the homies that started shit like stuff like that, they wanted something bigger. They didn't want it to be like a regular gang. You get what I'm saying? They wanted it to be like a fraternity or something. They wanted to be like a You know what I'm saying? We got ties with each other. We got love for each other. We go look out for each other. But eventually end up becoming a gang and shit. But what I'm saying is that's not what it was eventually for in the beginning. You feel me?
So that's what your book is about. And then if people follow you at,
Oh yeah, they can follow me and stuff at they can look me up and get at my email.
so do you have an Instagram?
Yeah, I have Instagram. It's 865 WARR.
865
WARR.
WARR. That's your Instagram.
That's my Instagram.
Okay, and then stay tuned on your Instagram for your book coming out.
Yes, and also you can look me. I have another account. Actually, it's Mike Ward, MikeWarr. So if you don't get at me on that one, you can get at me on the other one.
So with this gang, the Sex Jerks.
Yeah.
I think you joined this gang young. I'm guessing.
10 years old. I was 10 years old. I was 10 years old joining that.
So how'd you join at 10? What'd you have to do to join at 10? Or they just was like, you part of us?
It was more kind of like an Indian tribe. You feel me? Kind of like, you know what I'm saying? To me, it was like a tribe. You feel me? It was more like, something that you was born into. You feel me? Because my brother and shit, he off, I was 10 years old and shit. I remember he telling me and shit, like, you feel, I was doing everything he was doing anyway. He was 10 years older than me. So I was doing everything he was doing anyway. You feel me? Like I said, he was dating fucking, celebrity and shit like that. I wanted to date a celebrity. He was dressing real nice. And, my homies, they the ones that started, dressing and shit like preppy boys, but they was like, gangsters, but dressing like preppy boys and shit to where you couldn't even recognize. You thought they was college students or something like that. That's why they had the baddest chicks and different shit. You feel me? They was, you know what I'm saying? They liked the different type of cars and they like to, do shit like probably go golf and do shit like dance and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like just like to do different shit that females like to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they was more like players and shit like that. So yeah, you feel me? I looked up to my brother and stuff, he had beautiful women.
So you wanted to be, okay, because I was just going to say that. Did you feel like the gang took the place of family? Like, what was the reason? Just because you wanted to be hip? The reason was basically just
because, it was because, he had money. I see my money. I see my brother at a young age come in the house with $10,000, money.
And how was he getting this money?
He's working for Jamaicans in LA and shit like that, So that's what I'm saying. Like, it was different. Like, the homies, even though they was sex jerks, eventually they became Crips, but they always did what they wanted to do. They was their own set. They wasn't up under no guidelines. If they wanted to fuck with Jamaicans, Belizeans, if they wanted to fuck with some blood niggas and BPSs, they did whatever the fuck they wanted to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And this is South Central LA, the land of the shit that it started at. The homies always had a chapter to where they did what they wanted to do. You feel me? So they was generals. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like, I didn't see my brother and them fighting the shit, come home, you know what I'm saying, running the shit, you feel me? But no, we stayed on 61st and Normandy. That's in the Bram hood. Then I remember at one point in time, Bloods came in there about 30, 40, 50 thick, trying to get my brother outside. He was banging sex jerks. This is back in the 80s, nigga, you feel me? I'm for sex jerks, and they tripping, but
but beat them up.
They wanted them. My mom came out with a big ass butcher knife. Y'all about to leave my son alone. Get away from here. You feel me? The whole family was outside. We just go ride for my brother. Ain't nothing gonna happen to my brother. Nigga on our watch. Nigga, nothing. You feel me? Right, so at 10 years old, I knew this. You feel me? Get the fuck out of here. I don't care how many of y'all it is. Our house eventually got shot up and shit. You feel me? About 20 times, threw cocktails at the house and shit, trying to burn. But it didn't happen. God was with us. We a praying family. My mom's a praying lady. Basically, the ties and shit came from my brother. I was gonna already follow after my brother, family tree anyway, you feel me? So that's where that came from. So it don't matter if he would have been from Rolling Honey, UG, or Six, I would have followed him, you feel me? It don't matter where he would have been from, you feel me? But he just happened to be on some player shit and met some player homies, and that's what he became. And he was one of the first generations, and he said he could have been a Crip, he could have been a Trey, anything he wanted, but he was like, nigga, I'm gonna be a sex church, I'm gonna be a fly guy. You feel me? So that's what he became, and that's what I fuck. So
tell me, when then did you first start getting in trouble and going to jail? Have you been to jail multiple times?
Gosh, yeah. My life.
Black man in LA. That's okay.
It was a lot of the stuff wasn't really my fault, actually. I mean,
Me either.
I mean, at 14 years old, the first dude ever put a gun in my face was a police officer.
Okay.
At 14 years old.
Tell me what happened.
It was an altercation on a bus. We was riding the bus and stuff, and we get off the bus and stuff, and the police roll up on me and stuff with a gun. Like, what I'm saying, he pointed it sideways like this in my face. Get down on the ground. What you doing? Whoop, whoop. You feel me? I'm like, damn, wow. You feel me? So,
so
shit
why?
like
He
that.
just got. Wait. What
No,
happened?
well, it was a fight on the bus.
Okay.
And then everybody
Was you
had got off.
involved in the fight?
I wasn't involved in the fight.
You
feel me?
was just getting right
I wasn't
home.
involved in the fight. You feel me? It was a fight on the bus. Boom. So it was a couple dudes fought on the bus, cripping blood, fought on the bus. Anyway, you feel me? The next stop, everybody got off the bus. We get off the bus and shit, come home from school and stuff like that, We walking home from school and shit like that. It's just police just roll up on us, about 4 of us. We wasn't the ones got into it, but they just rolled on us. I think because we was black men. And I'm just saying, the first dude ever put a gun in my face was a police officer. So you feel me? Like, yeah, I do got a record, a little bit small time record. You feel me? I have done some time, in the youth authority YA. I'll tell you about that all the way until
Which YA was you in? Because I was in youth authority too.
Yeah. Gladiator school. I was Paso Robles. That's in San Luis Obispo. I maxed out a YTS. That's in Chino. Gladiator school. That's where sad to say, but that's where I fought a lot in
fire camp. I was in fire camp.
Yeah. Actually, that's where I discovered fire camp. Because
in YA?
I love firefighting. And so at the age of 19, I went to the youth authority. I'll tell you about this story. I went to the youth authority because something I didn't do. I had got accused of a burglary. It was a white dude and this other dude and shit, man. They came home from school and supposed to had did something and ended up putting my name. They got caught and put my name in it, but because I was on probation, police raided my mom's house. I was planning on going to the military and everything. I was trying to get out the projects at a young age. I was like, I'm gonna take my black ass to the military, but all that shit stopped for some shit that I didn't do. These dudes said that I was with them. They lied because they did a gang of shit and they was gonna get washed up. So they ended up putting my name on some shit to try to get reduced time. And yeah, they ended up raiding my house. They dropped the case, but because they found some ammunition, which is not but bullets, they sending me to YA, 5 years on YA. They said, well, you've been in camp 2 times already. Which, I've been in camp, 6 months.
I was in Camp Scott.
Really? I was in Camp Scudder right next to Scott.
Hey, maybe we was at a dance together. Remember they used to have dances? We used to have dances? I
was there in 97.
Oh, no, 97 I was already on my way to prison.
96.
I think I was there in the 80s, Camp Scott.
Wow. How old are you?
49.
Okay, you look good for your age.
Thank you.
Because they took a lot of time for people, innocent people, just throw them in there. I think it was a big ass business scam the way they was doing it because, the first time I went was like 15 years old. They gave me 6 months for attempted GTA that my friend didn't even steal. It was like attempted, and you took 6 months away from me as a teenager. How do you think I felt? But at the same time, I'm 15 years old doing 1,000 push-ups, so you showed me that I was strong mentally and physically, but. Yeah, man.
Well, it's because you learned some things, though, right?
Yeah, but what I did get out of it is, speaking of fire camp, that, I am a professional wildland forestry firefighter now,
Right.
So, I love that. I love my career. I love my job. I want to get more people, more youth and stuff, to.
I thought you were going to say, I want to get more people to go set some fires so I can.
No, nothing illegal. No, I didn't travel all around the world and shit to fight fire, with my forestry and stuff, so. It happens frequently all across the world. You would be amazed.
Okay, so tell me how you ended up in prison to even learn. Okay, so you fought fires in
yes.
youth authority.
Yes, I went to the youth authority and I went to Paso Robles, and I was just blessed because I had 5 years to do. We ended up turning it around to about 3 years, and then I ended up doing a year on the main line, and then I ended up going to Paso Robles in San Luis Obispo. Is a beautiful city.
What's the main line for youth authority?
The main line is just like a regular the regular like facilities and stuff like that, you know, like
No special privileges.
no special privileges. You
Right.
feel me? Fire camp, I mean, special privileges. You going outside every day, and even though you working hard, you feel me, which I love to do, but you going outside every day and stuff like that. So that's how I learned about fire camp. How they was taking us out to the woods. So I'm 19 years old, and you know, for a year straight, we going out to the woods, and you know, we working and stuff, and we cut down trees, and
this is in youth authority.
This is in youth authority.
Okay.
We cut down trees. We working with Pulaski's, and we doing this and this, and you feel me? We hiking every day. You know, we working out. All firefighters, they work out every day. You feel me? That's why they tell you, you better than being a firefighter than anything else, because the discipline is real. You go work out every day. You go make sure you eat every day, because you go hike almost every day. You go be in real good shape. It don't matter if you're a man or a woman. They have a lot of women that do it too.
Yeah, I did it. So tell me, how did you ever get in youth authority to even become a firefighter? What happened? What did you do?
But even though they dropped the case, they still say we're going to still send you to youth authority because you've been too many times in our face.
And how many years did you get?
They gave me 5 years, but I ended up doing 2.5.
You went to board every year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I ended up doing 2.5.
And then you got out on parole?
Got out on parole, you feel me? I had it in my mind and stuff. I was going to do good. And
you was going to be a firefighter, me too?
I wanted to do that and stuff like, and, you know, my step-pops kicked me out the house, shit like that, you know? So, some stuff happened, went back, you know, for 11 months. That's where I maxed out in YTS. And yeah, so maxed out at YTS. They didn't let me out till I was 21.
So then what led to your first prison term? You've only done one prison term.
Yeah, well, that was why it was supposed to be, you know, really not counted as a prison term, because that's the youth authority. But sometimes they still bring that up, which is not right. You know, I wish somebody do something about it, because every time they look it up, they like, well, you went to, and I'm like, well, that was young. It shouldn't be counting. You feel me? So it's like, yeah, my record was, they was already against me at an early age because of that. But I still made it, and you know, so that's when I was 21. You know, had a couple kids, had a couple kids and stuff, worked a few odd jobs, different stuff like that. And I tried to get, I wanted to become a wildland firefighter at that time, but I guess, having kids and doing like so much stuff, and I was on I had got into some little bullshit trouble and shit, got caught with a pistol, and anyway, so I was on probation for like 3 years, so I had to get off of that. So you feel me? Like I couldn't really, get right into firefighting like I really wanted to, because so anyway.
It's hard. I could say that too. That's another thing. Like when you get out, I commend you for doing it out here, because most people don't. Most people get out of prison and they don't, because it's hard. It's not something that's easy, available. You got to really want to go out and seek it. And all that training, like most of the trainings they have, like I can make a pair of glasses from the beginning to the end, but who's hiring for that?
Right.
Where do you go for that? So that was like moot training. So I highly commend you for even finding that, because that's, you had to go out and find that. But what I'm interested in first, before we get there, is so then you end up going to prison. You're telling me right now what happened. Why'd you go to prison? You was having a hard time. You couldn't get a job.
Yeah, so I started, we got it. I'm into the marijuana business. My friend had his own marijuana shop, supervision. You can look him up and stuff, supervision and stuff, 448. We have our medical shop, off 6050 Normandy.
Then it wasn't legal.
It wasn't legal at the time and stuff like that. So this is around 2010. So I had a few bags of marijuana on me. They locked me up. They went through my phone. Somebody said I wanted the 8th. They locked me up for sales and transportation. And I'm like, I had no, I had no authority over this dude. Said he knew I had marijuana, but I wasn't selling it to him. You feel me? He just said that I wanted to smoke an 8th. You feel me? So yeah, they locked me up for possession of sales. I bailed out. Pretty much the same thing happened again, 4 or 5 months later. But it was like, this is marijuana. Like, you feel me? If my friends want to smoke an 8th, I mean, they had a right to smoke an 8th. You feel me? It's not that I'm trying to be a fucking kingpin and boss. But yeah, because of that and because I was out on bail, they tried to give me an extra 2 years, wearing bow-legged. They offered me 7 years. I told them no, because I haven't been in prison, since I was fucking young, went to YA. So I don't even got a prison record. So why you want to watch me up like this when I'm 30? I'm 30 years old. You feel me? I got a family, and you know what I'm saying? I'm a good father and all that.
Oh, you had kids already?
Yeah, I got 3 kids and shit. I'm really
at that time.
at this time, yeah, because the last time I was in the youth authority, I was 21.
Okay.
So now I'm at 30 now. So it shows you I'm staying out of trouble. You feel me? I mean, I caught the gun case when I was 22. So I told you I was on probation for 3 years. I beat all that. Boom. This and this. Whoop. So, that gun case protection, that wasn't nothing. So I'm 30. You feel me? This is almost 10 years, 8 years later. And you want to give me all type of time for marijuana? I'm talking about for some shit that was grams. I don't care if it was 1, 2, or 3 times. It was twice. Yeah.
And this is in LA.
Yeah, no, this was out in Palmdale.
Oh, yes, that's why.
Yeah, this is in Palmdale. Yeah, Palmdale have a.
And what year?
It's a cold place. Yeah, Palmdale have a cold place.
And what year?
This is 2010.
Oh, okay. I was locked up still.
Wow.
But when I was out here selling drugs myself, there was no joke out here. They had orange jackets. They come kick your hotel room door.
That's the thing. Yeah,
because there's sheriffs out here.
Yeah. So yeah, they fucked me over and shit. They fucked me over out here in Palmdale.
Okay, so how much time you went to prison with?
Well, I ended up taking it to trial because I didn't want to take the 7 years. So I ended up taking it to trial. I ended up losing. I won one case and lost the other case. So they ended up giving me 11 years and 9 months.
11 years?
A lot of time, yeah. They wanted me to fucking pull down there 10 years straight.
Wait a minute, 11 years. What's the other case?
It was marijuana, because I told you I was out on bail called another marijuana case.
So they gave you 11 years for how many grams of marijuana?
I'm talking about
these. Are you telling the truth?
I swear to God, these was
for
grams.
How many?
Just for I'm talking about the first case was probably maybe 7, 8 grams, and the third and the second, the other case was like 12 grams. These were small grams, They were just trying to wash a black dude,
Right.
I felt like that was the system of where you get called railroaded. You hear about it and shit like that. You feel me? Like now, you don't get lynched. You ain't gonna they ain't gonna come to your house and burn mommy house down, but they will take your mommy house, which they ain't took my sister house before, and they will take your freedom. But you feel me? And that's when it ended up happening, and that really sucks because. That took a lot out of me and shit. You feel me? Me at 30 years old trying to get my life together and shit like that. And my friend is incorporated with the marijuana business, so I'm messing with him. I'm not thinking I'm doing nothing wrong, ending up getting sentenced 11 years, 9 months for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it wasn't legal. So then you're in prison. So you got 11 years. You're in prison.
I'm in prison. Yeah.
What prison were you in?
I went to CMC. First I went to Bosco. Reception, and then I went to CMC, San Luis Obispo, and yeah, man, and I had to walk it off, man, and they wanted me to put, you feel me, like close to 10 years off of that bed, and anyway,
at 85%,
fucking at 80%,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 80%, 11 years or 9 months. They wanted me to put like 9 years and a half. You feel me, and that's with good time. You feel me? So I'm
like, I'm going to fire camp.
Yeah, I mean, in order to go to fire camp, you had to have your numbers, have your years down to 4 years. So, I already had, you feel me, 9.5 years to do first. So I ended up doing about, 4.5 years on the main line. Close to 5 years on the main line.
So how was that? Like, how was you back to gangbanging because you were in prison?
Oh, totally. See, that's the thing about gangbanging and stuff. It's like, you a man before anything, but, when you blind in certain circumstances and stuff like that behind them walls, then it's like, okay, where you from? Who, I'm saying, who created you? You feel me? Like, where, who was your homies? You feel me? They want to know, who are you? So, with that being said, I'm sex sharks, so that was already a close hand down. You feel me? You ain't got to ask me twice. You feel me? Like, yeah, 87 to Normandy. So, but at the same time, It was hard timing and shit, but it was like, yeah, if you want to know where I'm from, I'm gonna tell you where I'm from. You feel me? If you don't like it, I'm gonna put my foot in your ass. You feel me? Because I ain't taking no L's, no losses.
So did you end up ever getting more time while in there for fighting or
No, it ain't too many people.
making a shank?
Well,
You make a shank? Tell me how you make a shank.
well, no, I mean the thing is, like, I mainly because my big brother was an intelligent dude. He had to dead like a lot of time, so he already told me, man, they railroad you when you get inside of prison. Go to the law library. Fuck all that hanging out on the yard and this and this,
Right.
like, trying to, fuck all that. You work out. I love to work out, so I'm gonna work out all the time. I'm gonna work out, and then go to the law library. You feel me? So actually, that's what occupied my time. I worked out, and then I went to the law library, like a few times out the week. I ended up,
I was
that's
a
how
law
I got
library
out.
clerk.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, I'll end up being a law library clerk too. That's one of my next. Yeah, after I went to my next prison from there and stuff like that, I ended up becoming a law librarian too.
Okay,
I worked at the law. Yeah, that shit was pretty fun.
You help people with their 602s and they writ of habeas corpus.
That's how I got myself out. It took me 6 years to get out, but I got out on the habeas corpus.
I did mine, but I got denied.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It takes
At the first level,
time.
you're supposed to keep going.
You got to keep going all the way up. You can't give up. That's why they tell you either take it to trial, because if you take it to trial, then you can always come back on appeal, because you can always put that paperwork in, take it to trial. But if you just take the time, like Suge Knight,
and then that's where I learned about the penal code. Like 1192.7 subsection H says that it's illegal for the prosecution to plea bargain with you if they have evidence to convict you. Did you know that? That like tripped me out. I was like, wait a minute, take me back to court, but it don't work like that. Yeah, but it's good that you got into.
Yeah, I got into that legal business
and got yourself out.
Got myself out. It took me 6 years. It was better than doing a whole 9.5 to damn near 10 get caught. You feel me? Anything like I said, that's 9.5 a good time. Who gonna do fucking 9.5 years, fucking good without? You know what I'm saying?
So it take time. So you did your writ, and then in between time, you were shipped to fire camp.
Yeah. It took me, like I said, it took about good 4.5 years plus, and then once I got my time down, you have to have at least 4 years to go to fire camp. So I got my time down to, it's at 4 years, or you already been down 5. You got like 4 left. Boom. You know what I'm saying? You can go to fire camp. So got a chance to get in fire camp again, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I was in fire camp when I was 19. So here I am now. Like I've been praying to God, like, God, you feel me? I'm 30. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I got to do some time, then, let me come home in my mid-30s, still active, so.
So what was the difference between YA fire camp and adult prison fire camp?
Adult prison fire camp, they you get more leeway. The youth authority fire camp, you still be on the line, fight fires. You still participate. You still sleeping out in the forest, so it's not really much of a difference, because when you got to cut line and stuff, and you try to stop them fires from going and stuff, it don't matter if you're in the youth authority or if you're in prison, you still out putting in work. So, I'm not going to take nothing away from the youngsters and stuff like that. But
well, when I was a youngster, when I was in fire camp, we used to clown the older firefighters from prisons. We used to be like, can your old ass get up here? And then all the time, like the women's fire camp, I don't know what it was called, they would get caught having sex with the men on the fire line.
Wow.
Like, but you've been on this fire line for a week with no shower, with a trailer shower. How you having sex behind the bush?
No, I mean, shit, sometimes them trailer showers are doing the job. I mean,
them trailer showers.
I mean, you feel me? You out there in that forest and shit, but we got time those showers on when you finally do get one for that little 5 minutes or whatever and stuff, and that's your freedom. You feel me?
We used to get cigarettes from the men firefighters.
Immediately.
Can you give us cigarettes? Because in YA, we can smoke.
Exactly.
On the fire line.
In a prison, you can't either.
Well, now.
So,
when I went to prison, you could smoke.
Really?
They used to give you some tobacco in your fish kit.
Wow.
A pouch.
Well,
Bugler. Thank you.
This was 2000.
AR.
What year was this?
When I went to prison.
Yeah. This is 2010 and up.
They stopped smoking
in California. Ain't none of
that. Was mad. Hello.
Of course they was.
Locked in for a month.
They should have rolled for it, but you know, at the same time though, that's political. You know what I mean? You know, that's your rights, you know, so.
Okay, so.
Different story. But anyway, as far as the forestry, you know, that's another book that I'm writing about. You know, it's an autobiography about my life called War and Fire.
Really?
You know, yeah.
It's about firefighting and...
It's about, you know, from my life, you know, being a warrior all the way to start fighting these fires. And
okay, well, you're going to have to get one of these finished so we can read it and come back and talk about
mandatory. I need mandatory. It's
okay.
going to happen.
So,
Lord willing.
I'm trying to work through this with you here because there's some things that I'm sure the viewers are going to want to know. Like, you went to a fire camp and this is in prison.
Yeah, so I discovered fighting fires again at the age, you know, I'm 35 now, you know, so I'm fighting fires. So I'm hiking every day. You know, I was a camp acting. Mm-hmm. You know, they got us hiking every day. I'm talking about we doing the same hikes that the LA County firefighters do. That's one thing about the firefighters. You gotta, you know, give them props and stuff. They work out. It's the same workout that a professional firefighter does.
Oh yeah.
Inside of the fire camp, inside of, you know, prison. Well, yeah, still prison. So,
I used to want to cry.
Yeah, so man, it's active, super active. It's gonna make you be active. I didn't hike and shit, messed up my hip flexor, but it's like if you miss the hikes more than 3-4 times, you're getting kicked out. But who want to get kicked out of a place where you in prison doing time, you eating steaks and fajita sandwiches for Christmas and shit?
Right.
You feel me? You getting burritos like this that you normally got to have a package for like 15 bucks. You know what I'm saying? But you getting it for free for them. I mean, come on, you had weights. Like, it was a good privilege. You feel me? And I respected it. And so in the process of that, you know, we hiking every day. I hiked for 8 months straight. You know, fought some fires. You know, and I ended up beating my appeal. I had my paperwork in, you know, so when they turned over the marijuana laws and stuff like that, they end up, you know, knocking off my charges.
So they had no choice because now it's legal.
Right. And they like, you shouldn't even be in here that long. They said, we're about to take this off your record. So it's going to be like you never even been in prison.
Yeah.
We're going to let you out immediately.
Right. And because they want you to shut up about it too, though.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm surprised you didn't have to sign that. Sign here, sir. This is the only way you're going to get out.
Yeah. So, you know, they let me out a week later. Boom.
So tell me why. So it seems like you weren't, you know, like on such a bad path. You just was on a regular, you know, black man in the city path. You selling weed. You just trying to survive. Whereas most stories you hear, you know, niggas is like, yeah, I was robbing and then I was smoking crack and I was selling crack and you never, I mean, none of those things affected you, right?
No.
Where you ended up going to jail or going to prison, or where while you're in prison something extraordinary happened and you were like, you know what, I need to change my life and like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, when I went to prison, like I said, I was 30 years old. Before I went, I was taking care of my kids. You know, I was, you know what I'm saying? I'm helping my kids is everything to me. So you feel me? I raised my kids from a young age, you know. Man, first day of schools, I was there. You know, my kids was everything. So when they sent me all those years, it was kind of really like a breaker. Like I was really like, damn, but I knew I couldn't give up. Even though they wanted me to do damn near 10 years, but I knew like somehow I knew I was gonna get out of it somehow, some way, and I knew I couldn't give up. You feel me? And all myself and all my kids. So, you know, it was all I wanted to get out and just, you know, really be with them. Then my mom, you know, I wanted to get out, be with her. I love my mom.
So you just had plans that I'm going to get out and I'm going to be a firefighter and this is how I'm going to survive.
Well, I didn't really...
Or now weed is legal so I could do what I've been doing because this is my passion is marijuana. It heals people. It grows from the ground. It should be legal.
Totally. Yeah, I wasn't doing nothing illegal. You feel me? I mean, I just got into the marijuana bin. I wasn't doing nothing illegal. But yeah, they took me away. So, but anyway, when I went to fire camp and stuff like that, I was like, this would be a cool job. But I didn't know that I was going to get out right away. You feel me? So I wasn't even thinking of like, this is something that I'm be going and come out and be a professional firefighter. It was something that was fun, something I had experience in. But, you know, they wanted me to do, you know, 4 more years when I was at fire camp. You feel me? So it was like, okay, you know, I ended up did 8 months in there. And then that's why I said they looked at my paperwork and, you know, the laws turned around. It was like, we're about to let you go. So when they let me go, it was like unexpected, but it was expected, but it was unexpected because I didn't know that I was going to go home like that. It was called Wildland Fire Academy at the Antelope Valley College. They actually got a really good career, really good system, and it was only 8 weeks. You know, so I already knew. And plus, as soon as I had got out of prison, I was already, it was like, that's what I wanted to do anyway. Like, she gave me that paperwork, but she also knew that I was already taking an EMT class because I wanted to be a forestry firefighter. You know, I was taking an EMT class already. I was already in the college just looking for how can I be this because I didn't really know what to do. But then one day she came home and was like, look, what I found at work. I printed this paperwork out for you. It's called the Wildland Fire Academy at the Antelope Valley College. It says go 8 weeks and you'll be certified. You know, but you have to have like a interview in order to even get in. So, you know.
So when you went to the interview, did you tell them that you learned this in prison?
Yeah, I went to the interview and I had told them and stuff like yeah, you know, I told them I had experience in it. I told them when I was younger, yeah, I went to fire camp, you know.
And youth authority?
Yeah, in youth authority. I told them that I like being in the field. I like being in the forest. I love to work out. I love working with tools. And I didn't know if I was going to get the position, but yeah, he called me when it was like, yeah, man, you got it. You know, you're in there.
Right on, right on. Weeks. And you was able to be honest and be yourself.
I was able to be honest and be myself.
Right on. See, that feels so good.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It does feel good. It does feel good. I was able to be honest and was able to be myself, you know. Yeah. So, you know, they is friendly, you know, firefighters, you know, I get them props and stuff. There are, you know, they different than cops, you know. They know they more understandable and stuff, you know, especially with inmates because inmates help them and stuff, you know.
Right.
They understand and stuff that even though dude might be an inmate, he probably messed up, but that don't mean his heart is not right. That don't mean
so they wasn't like you can't be Sawyer.
No, I
became scared that you. They was scared for you to.
No, I mean he actually didn't really, you know, put my information on display for the other people to know.
Okay.
So that was respectful too, you know what I'm saying? And you know, I don't even, you know, I told him I went to fire camp and he never really talked to me about it. He just respected it, I think.
Today you this is what you do, firefighter.
This is what I do. I'm a wildland forestry firefighter. I'm actually, you know, trying to get some sponsors and stuff like that because I want the youth and, you know, the urban youth, you know, to get a view of it, to know about it. You know, at the age of 18, you know, you can be out in the forest, you know, working with me or working with others and stuff, you know, light fires or, you know, prescribing, you know.
So you're trying to get funding to start what?
I'm trying to get funding to where I can show the urban youth, you know, about the forestry and stuff.
Okay.
About, you know, how to, you know, to get into the program that I got into and stuff like that so they can become wildland firefighters. At the age of 18, you could become one.
And how are you going to do this? How do you plan to, like, take them on a camping trip?
Yeah, that's what I really want.
Because I had a friend that used to do that. She was in fire camp. She's actually passed away now. But she did that. She started a little thing and she would take kids out on a camping trip. Yeah,
that's exactly what I want to do. I want to be able to have a program to where, like, because when we out in the forestry, you know, we out working with 4-wheelers, you know, we out working with different dirt bikes, you know, we out working with UTVs and stuff. We out there protecting the forest. We out there riding around all in the forest and you discovering so much different stuff, you know, from nature, from animals, from different type of water and stuff like that, you know. And it's a real big, huge thing that people need to understand.
So that's part of training is to just be in the forest, becoming one with the nature.
Becoming one with the nature so they can understand if a fire ever happened and stuff, you know, what's the simplest thing to do, you know? If a fire happened in your backyard or something like that, if it's a shovel right there, yes, you can get the shovel and grab it and put dirt on the fire to put it out. You know, if it's a water hose, you know, yes, you know, turn the water hose, don't be scared, you know, to put it out. So,
one thing you have to put in your class with these kids was my favorite is you got to get one of those big ass fans.
Right.
And give them that little piece of foil that folds up and tell them to get under it with the fan on.
Yeah.
Please. test. Give them that test.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That is fun.
Yeah, for sure. That's safety. That's to keep you safe in case the fire
We used to call it the baked potato.
Your shield. That's your fire shield.
Your fire shield, the metal thing, and then you dig little holes so you can breathe in there.
For sure, man. That's the last thing you want to do, but that have saved some people, because that thing, it kind of keeps some of the fire off,
That's when they tell their stories about their buddy
have
that
your
passed
safety
away.
zone, put it in the safety zone. Make sure you put it somewhere and stuff. Maybe if the fuel is already burnt or something like that, or the fire.
You got real serious right there. He was like,
yeah,
I'm
really. I love, like I said, I like what I do, with the wildland firefighting because it keeps you active. I like being active,
right,
and stuff like that. So, like I said, once again with the program, I want to be able to have a trailer or something like that, or a truck where I can take the urban, or even anyone, stuff, the youth and stuff, to where I can teach them and show them, and then get them some knowledge and stuff to where they can sign up and join the academy. It's only 6 to 8 weeks, and you could be making 20,000-30,000 a summer. If I would have knew that as soon as I got out of youth authority, I would have immediately did that. But I didn't know that at that age. So, I got out, getting kicked out the house and, etc. But at a young age you can do this, man. Make your family proud and stuff like that. I'm proud of what I do. I'm sure the youth to be proud of what they do and stuff,
So that's the message you want to get out. So you're writing 2 books. Okay, so let's recap real quick before we wrap. You come from the streets, the sex jerks, right? That's a sex jerk cribs. Yeah. Okay. To youth authorities, and then in youth authority you were first given a taste of firefighting, which you fell in love with, obviously.
For sure.
And then got out of youth authority and needed to survive, so we start slanging weed, marijuana. But it's not legal. It's okay though, because it's legal now.
Right.
So don't get uptight. You was doing what you had to do, and I mean, really, by all rights, it's legal now. So think about it. Shouldn't it have been legal then? What changed?
Yeah, I should never got that much in my
Nothing
time.
changed. Nothing changed.
I mean, dudes get 10 years for attempted murder.
I would say you're not alone. Many people have gone to prison for weed, selling weed, and they're out now. And there may be some that are still there that are not out.
Right.
Right? So it's nothing to be ashamed of. And then there's some of us who've been to prison for worse things, like shooting people, robbing people. That's me. Hey.
I'm sure.
So then you go from that to prison, and you survive prison before you get to get back introduced to fire camp, right? While you're surviving prison, was there anything that happened
inside of prison? Is that we have to look out for each other. When I'm saying that, as far as like, I remember it was one dudes and stuff, they was about to kill each other for $2. And dude was like, it's the principle that you owe me $2. So, you feel me? He was about to, go outside to do that for $2. But it was like, another older guy put him to the side and was like, look, man, out of respect, you gave him that $2. You should have given him that $2. And if he telling you he don't have it right now, give him time to pay it. Then out of respect, you should give him time to pay it, even if it's not the time that you want him to pay it. Because if you offer a man something, then you should do that out of love. Because don't nobody, when you do something, that's what you want to do it for, love. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you feel me? Because if not, then it's the type of shit that can happen. You fuck around, die for lesser. Mm-hmm. Why cause that type of friction when it's supposed to be love? You lent that to the man because he was supposed to have love for him. Mm-hmm. So if he's telling you he don't have it right now, then why you want to hurt him? You feel me? Right now, because it's not on your time. If you have love for him, then have love enough for him and stuff to respect him to where he give it to you when he can. So that basically taught me, like, to think different on the streets, to be more helpful, to be more, to be more open and stuff like that, to be more, accept more people and stuff like that, because not everybody, you feel me, got, what you have. Not everybody been what you've been through. So, you have to be able to empathize, You know, you have to be able to have
That's what
some
I'm trying to
type
say.
of
That sounds like empathy. And then, a lot of us.
Yeah, you have to be able to, have some type of empathy, because when you don't, you just go off the head, and it's like you off of your emotions. And that type of stuff can get you in, something serious than what it's even worth. So, that just taught me and stuff like we have to be more, considerate and stuff for each other and stuff like that. Don't just talk down on the man, don't want to hurt the man because he can't come up. Help the man come up, or help the sister come up. You feel me? Like, so that's what it taught me and stuff, and there's more like, it's kind of more of like they help each other more, even though they don't got much, but they help each other in a certain sense. You feel me? To where like, they eat with each other. Somebody needs something, they give somebody something. I remember it was this one guy. He used to tell me good morning every morning and shit for like a year or two straight. His name was Wood, my homie and shit, neighborhood. And you feel me? Every morning and shit. He was an OG, 10 years older than me. But every morning I see him, he'll good morning, Bosco. I'm like, good morning. Even on my sad days and on my good days, he just like, good morning, Bosco. But that taught me like, wow, you feel me? This dude, he locked up for attempted murder and shit. He had got like 18 years. He had been down already like 16, like some shit like that. You feel me? But it's like, this dude, you feel me? Like, so it was like, it just taught me, like, you can go out your way and shit to make another person happy. You feel me? Like, don't, especially if it's not worth it. You feel me? Like, I mean, if it's not worth it, and you can get it back, then it's a lot of dudes and shit. They wish they can get that chance again.
Well, so that's what I was leading up to right now, because I was saying, so these are the things while inside. Okay, so then you go to fire camp and you learn those skills, right?
Right.
You pick that up and you become a professional.
Yeah.
Along with so many other things we know, well, you and I know, but the people don't know, that come along with firefighting, because now you really are dependent upon these other felons for your life, right? You're on a fire line and it's kind of, you can die.
For sure. Yeah, some of my friends and stuff, they first season, they had people die on a fire team and stuff, 20-man group.
Right, you get caught up, you can die.
Yeah, it's serious, it's just like the streets. It's like anything, it's a profession,
But while you're in there, you're getting what, $1 an hour? I think we got like $1.20, maybe $2, depending on if you were
in prison,
McLeod, Pulaski,
in prison,
or Sawyer,
in prison,
Fuller.
They rape you in prison,
right?
Yeah, you get like $1 an hour.
Shit. So, but out here, you pulling in the money.
Oh, out here, yeah. Your first season, you gonna make a good 20,000.
Oh shit! I'm gonna have to go get my McLeod and start sharpening it.
Season consists of 3 to 5 months. Sometimes 6 months. You make about 30,000, and then they give you room and shelter and stuff.
Right.
You stay out there out there and on the grounds. They give you like a little apartment and stuff. The last place I was staying was in a 3-man house. So I had my own room.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice and stuff. Yeah, you professionally and stuff. So, you fight fires on the line. You count it for, of course you count it for. That's something they teach you in fire camp anyway and stuff. You always, your next man, always have his back, have his safety, and make sure and stuff that you don't just do what you want to do and stuff. There's other people out there that's counted for, always got to have eyes watching,
So then we went to fire camp. And we became professional, and we learned all these additional skills. And
so then, when I went to fire camp, I had got out and started going to school, and then I went to the Wildland Fire Academy. So that was a good a 6 week straight of training. It was going to school. We was getting up every day for 8 hours a day and stuff like that. We'll work out. I love to work out, so we'll work out, do a little physical activity, run and stuff, work out. Then we'll get on the computers. You have to take all your little tests, your refreshers and stuff like that. What to do if a log rolling downhill and you downhill, you downhill cut line. You know what to do. You scream and stuff. Log. You scream out and stuff for safety and and stuff like that. And so they teach.
And there's something else you yell out when a rock is falling too, or something. I don't know.
Timber.
Is it? I thought timber was the log.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay, but a rock.
With a rock wall,
Rock? No.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's always rock falling and stuff. Rock tumbling.
And you have to keep your dime from the person ahead of you and stuff.
So the tool don't hit the next person.
So you learn all these skills. You got out. I want to know now, to wrap it up, who you are today.
Today I'm Mike Ward.
Different from the person who went to prison.
Totally. Today I'm Mike Ward. I'm a wildland.
Because you was Mike Ward then too.
Yeah, I was. Of course. I mean, yeah. Well, today I'm Mike Ward. I'm a wildland firefighter. I just want to get back to the community and stuff. Like I said, I mean, I want to make an example and stuff to where I could be a part and help out, and the people that I'm around, they want to do the same thing. Want to just be a good, role model. I have kids that look up to me.
And now marijuana is legal, so are you still dipping and dabbling?
Yeah, I mean, I still do my thing, on my off season.
Mm-hmm.
On my off season, my friend and stuff, we have a medical shop, like I said, it's on 65th and Normandy. You guys should come check it out, it's Budhead. Budhead, we have our own music group. I'm into the music, Budhead music group. I'm A&R. You can come check us out and stuff, look up Supervision 448. That's on the internet. And check us out, music and Budheads. Yeah, like I said, man, I have a real good friend. His name's Supervision. He got diamonds in his eyes. Ooh. He been into the marijuana business.
What you mean diamonds in his eyes? Tell the people they don't know.
Yeah, real diamonds in his eyes. So when you see him, you'll know. About LA, he one of the only ones, with them diamonds in his eyes, shine bright like a diamond. And he got his own, like I said, we got our own music label. You feel me? BMG, Budhead Music Group. Come check us out. He the CEO.
Tell everybody right quick.
Supervision 448.
Rapping with the 2 books coming out soon.
Yeah.
Give us your Instagram again. We got Mike Ward, WARR on Instagram, right?
Yep.
And what's the other Instagram?
865 War.
865 WARR. 865 WARR. People, check him out. Look out for those 2 books.
Jerks. One of the books called Jerks. About how cliques turn to gangs.
Cliques to gangs.
And the other book is called War and Fire.
War and Fire, about firefighting.
Yeah, it's autobiography about my life,
So we need to see these books, so you better get busy. You got too much going on.
Yeah, it's coming out real soon.
That's why you need some assistance with the marijuana business.
It's coming out real soon.
So we got, what street was that? Vermont and... Normandy?
65th? No, 65th and Normandy.
65th and Normandy. Check out.
Legit medical dispensary. Ask for supervision.
Supervision.
Yes, I said Supervision 448. You want into music. You into acting. We want the hottest celebrities, hottest artists about a California, anywhere. I got artists I'm working with all the way in Milwaukee. So, come on. Yeah, come on.
All right. And that's going to wrap us up.
Bosco Entertainment.
Bosco Entertainment. Thank you to our sponsors, California Performing Arts, AV, and A Hard Story Productions.
Thank you for listening, watching, and engaging. Your support means the world to us. Now stay tuned for some quick behind-the-scenes moments. A glimpse into the creativity, teamwork, and fun that make it all happen.
Okay. They came and started that. They was like fly guys, of LA. They the ones that incorporate, not just dressing with khakis and looking like a gang member. They the ones was, incorporating, dressing with dockers and, look like college boys and shit, look like preppy boys. But at the same time, it was, straight LA, riders. So they just formed that clique, which eventually became, a gang. That's why I wrote a book about that. How cliques end up turning to gangs, which is not always a good thing, because these young dudes starting this type of stuff, they need to start something positive, because they don't know what they're starting, Fuck around, start something they can't come up out of, which like a lot of dudes normally do. So that's what happened with the church group. Okay. Just came out here to Palmdale and just decided to do what we wanted to do at a young age. it was like no barriers out here. So, you know,